Hello, everyone, and welcome to the BYU Family History Library webinar series. We're glad you could join us today. I'm Megan Smith, and I'll be your host for this webinar. If you have technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat box and I can address your concerns. You are welcome to use the chat box during the webinar for comments, insights, and questions. However, all questions will be addressed at the end of the presentation. Our next webinar is on November 19th with Catherine Grant. She will be giving a presentation about using the quality score to improve family tree profiles. If you would like to access a previous webinar, please visit our webinar index on our website or search on our YouTube channel. All of our webinars are recorded and uploaded by the following Monday for your convenience. We also post links to recordings and other updates on our Facebook and Twitter accounts. For today's webinar, we are pleased to hear from Koji Sekiguchi, who will be talking about genealogy before the Koseki, researching Japanese immigrants in Brazil. Before we begin, here's a little bit about our speaker. Koji Sekiguchi is a passionate genealogist and a manager at Kaju Incorporated, dedicated to helping Japanese individuals trace their ancestral roots. With a degree in economics from Brigham Young University, Koji combines his professional expertise with a lifelong passion for family history research. Growing up in a family devoted to genealogical work, Koji developed a deep appreciation for the importance of connecting with one's heritage. This hobby has evolved into his lifetime purpose to assist those of Japanese descent, known as Nikkei, in discovering their ancestors and reconnecting with their homes in Japan. Leveraging his extensive experience and network, Koji is committed to providing valuable guidance and support to those seeking to explore their Japanese heritage. If Koji is ready, we'll turn the time over to him.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for introduction. My name is Koji Sekiguchi, and thank you for joining today. It is a great honor to speak to you at this webinar hosted by the BYU Library Family History. So today, again, my topic is genealogy before the Koseki, researching Japanese immigrants, specifically in Brazil. So I'll talk about how Japanese descent, especially in Brazil, to trace their ancestors. So if you are watching this video, you may already know, but to just give you some data, there are over 5 million people of Japanese descent, or called Nikkei, worldwide, living outside of Japan, according to Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan. And among them, the largest Nikkei community is in Brazil, and with more than 2.7 million people of Japanese heritage. So this shows that more than half of Japanese Nikkei are from or related to Brazil. So that's why today I wanted to focus or emphasize on helping those Japanese immigrants, especially living in Brazil. So today's purpose, I would like to give you some practical tools and knowledge to begin searching for your ancestors in Japan. So with modern technology and the internet, genealogy research has become much easier than in the past. But however, please note the language, culture, and Japanese unique historical systems mean that researching directly in Japan is still the best option. But I'll give you some of the things you can do online as well. So first, I'll just explain some of the records and also why Koseki is important. I covered some of the topics in the previous webinar, but I'll just go over a little bit to help people understand. So first, let's look at the chart of the Japanese historical timeline along with the genealogical records. So Japan has a rich history stretching back over 1,000 years, and so do genealogical records. However, among all of Japan's historical records, the Koseki, or the family register, stands out as the most accurate, detailed, and well-preserved records. So I'll explain why this family register is so important. in the genealogy research. So let me explain what the Koseki system, the family register is first. So think of the Koseki as a comprehensive record that merges the vital statistics kept separately in the Western systems, such as birth, marriage, death, and even adoption records. So all into a single family file. So this integration means that if you can access the Koseki, you're accessing all the essential information about your ancestors. So since the Koseki is also structured by family units, not the individuals. So this means that the Koseki also contains the information of their parents. And since the Koseki record can also serve as a proof of lineage, you can request the records for each generation until they no longer exist. So plus, the Koseki is recorded and kept by the local municipal offices. They're the most accurate and comprehensive records you can get in Japan. So that's why when people do the genealogy work for Japanese people, they always talk about, oh, you have to get a Koseki first. So because of these reasons, I also recommend people to start with the Koseki records. Then, in order to requesting or to obtaining a Koseki records, there are some requirements, and I'll go over those requirements as well. So first, the correct name of your ancestors in kanji or Japanese characters. Two, the registered address, the honsekichi, uh, that determines which city office holds actually those Koseki records. And three, proof of lineage, direct lineage, such as birth certificates showing your connection from yourself back to the ancestor. So among these, especially the first two, naming kanji, Japanese characters, and honsekichi, the permanent domicile, are often the most difficult one to find. So today's lecture, I'll mainly focus on how to find those information. So, and also I'll explain a little bit why those are a little bit difficult to find. So first, you know, as I help people find their ancestors' Koseki records, I found that many of them do not quite understand this system and tend to face these common challenges. So people generally be able to find the proof of direct lineage, just either searching genealogical database back in their country, or simply requesting their vital records because they're their parents or grandparents. So they can usually get those records. But however, the difficult part is first, like names, because in the Western countries, usually those names are shown with alphabet, but alphabet is not enough when you try to research ancestors in Japan. So here, Koji, Koji is my first name, and this is actually my correct kanji or Japanese characters. However, this and these combinations, they are all read. They can be read Koji as well. So since there are infinite there are so many, like a big number of kanji in Japan. There are many types of kanjis. So prima practically there are like infinite combination. And for my last name is Sekiguchi, this can be read Sekiguchi. This is also can be read Sekiguchi, 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 Sekiguchi. So just knowing like how to the pronunciation of your ancestors, it's it's not the enough information to actually to identify which one is your ancestor. So that's why you have to know the exact combination of kanji for your ancestors' names. Okay. So the another challenge is the okay, why you need like the permanent domicile, like the where they are from. So if you have Japanese ancestors, probably if you're a Japanese Nikkei, maybe you might heard like, oh, my ancestors came from Japan, or they came from like a specific prefecture in Japan. But usually knowing like just only they came from Japan or they came from a specific uh, prefecture is not enough. You need like a complete address with like household number as well, because the how Koseki are kept is that they're kept by like the local governments, associated local government offices, based on the permanent or registered address. So rather than any sort of a national database. So since there are roughly 2,000 such local offices throughout Japan, knowing the exact address is key to knowing where to request a Koseki record. So without the exact address, even the office worker wouldn't know where to look for it. So that's why you have to get names in kanji and also where they're from exactly, their permanent domicile. So, I explained like why Koseki is important and what kind of information you need to request Koseki records. So now I'll shift it to how to actually get those information. So I'll share some of the website and database to help you find those information. And some of the things like you can still do, just copy and paste. But please also remember that some of those to find, in order to find those information, uh, knowing Japanese language is still useful and practical to do it. But still, I thought it's important to share some of those websites or database as well. So first thing, in order to finding names in kanji, one of the most useful resource is passenger list of immigrant ships. If you are into like the genealogy, probably you you've checked like the passenger list before. But back in the days, if immigrating via through like the ships is more common than like the airplanes. So, if you're trying to find like ancestors information, it's always good to check the passenger list. And especially for the Brazilian immigrants, there's a great website available. It's a website, and this website has like all the database of like the passenger list for the Japanese Brazilian immigrants, and it was available from like the Museum de Immigration, Japanese immigration in Sao Paulo, and you can just simply like type search it here. So I'll just show you some demonstration. So this is the website, and you can just search it by like the name of the ship or the prefecture your ancestors came from and the time frame, like when they came from. They also the name of the immigrant and also surname of immigrant. And for this time to actually demonstrate, let's say, you know, I live in Japan and I don't have any Japanese immigrants living in Brazil. But let's say, my last name is Sekiguchi, and you try to find your ancestors, you know, came from Japan. I'll just search it, Sekiguchi. You can search it in the alphabet. So if you do that, they'll share the whole list of people who are immigrated from Japan to Brazil and whose last name is Sekiguchi. So if you look at it, uh, so this actually shows like the kanji as well. And the great thing about this database is not they only not show like the person, but also it comes with their family members who travel together. So this is Sekiguchi and Seijiro, and this shows like which ship they took and which province prefecture they came from. They went to the Sao Paulo, when they left and when they arrived. So this like database, if you go there, if you search like your ancestor's name, even with the alphabet, usually they tell you like their names in kanji. So that's why that this database is so useful. Okay. So now you found your ancestors' names in kanji. You still need to find your ancestors' Koseki, like a permanent address. So in order to discover the Koseki or like the registered domicile, uh, I'll I'll use some other resources too. So before World War II, Japanese citizens need to, still needed passports to immigrate. And when they apply, their those like applications are recorded in the Gaikoku Ryoken Kafu. This is called Gaikoku Ryoken Kafu. And so those are preserved in the diplomatic archives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Tokyo, Japan. So although all the records are not digitized yet, they contain like valuable information. So if you go over like those records, they show the information when they apply for the passport. So usually, of course, their name is in it, but also their address is also written as well. So that's why after finding the name, um, and also when they left from Japan, you just try to go through those records. But it takes like so much time because it's just a bunch of records, and it records pretty much all the immigrants there too. So it takes like so much time. But especially for a record like this, so it shows like the passport number, names in kanji, where they're from, the address, age, birthday, something like that. So you have to go through it one by one. But fortunately, for the Brazilian, Japanese immigrants for the Brazil, uh, there's already all the records, pretty much all the records are already digitalized. So if you go to like the National Library of Japan, they have digitized many records, the Japanese immigrants to Brazil. So by searching their database, you can just often find the original passport records, which should include like a hometown, like a permanent domicile as well. Okay. So when you search like the digital archive, if you use this kanji, this means the list of like the immigrants to the Brazil. So you can narrate down the list, then you can search it. So I'll just show you how it's like. So let's say you know, just continue like this record. You are looking for this Seijiro Sekiguchi. Let's say, just think like if he, as if he was like my ancestor. Then I was looking for this person, and you want to find his record. So Seijiro Sekiguchi. So if you go to like the National Digital Archive collection, Simply you just copy and paste. Also the last name. You just search it. If you search it, there are a lot of lists. But you also want to narrow it down. You only are looking for the passenger list only to the Brazil. So you put it, then you do additional search. Then it comes back here. There's only one hit. So if you go there, if you actually look at it, uh, here we go. There is Sekiguchi Seijiro, and it shows like passport number, which prefecture they came from, and when their passport was issued. He was a farmer. They also shows that you know this part shows he is from Wakayama prefecture. Then their birthday as well. So by using the National Library in Japan website database, and by narrowing down you only want to search the list of Brazil immigrants. Uh, Also, just using those kanjis, you should be able to find records something like this. So now you are able to find the address as well. So so with these two information, you should be able to request a Koseki record. But most of the time, this is the old address, so this information might not be the address might be different. So what you have to do is usually you can use Wikipedia, and if you search Wikipedia and like search for the name of the village, they'll usually tell you, how those villages are migrated. I'll just actually do it. So he's from like Wakayama Prefecture, Higashimura County, according to this information. So I go to Higashimura's Wikipedia page. Then he is from Oshima village. So what I do is I just search Oshima village. Then if you search it, so now Oshima village is migrated into the Kishimoto village, Kishimoto town. So if you search it, so if you search it, uh, so you can tell the Seijiro Sekiguchi came from this specific part of Japan. This part. Of course, without knowing Japanese language, probably it's pretty difficult. But with a Google translation and copy and paste, you could still do some of the things I shared with you. So now you know that the person I search is actually from this specific part of Japan. So that's how you can find out some of the information. Okay. Then after that, so now you know like your ancestor names in kanji and also their address. You could simply request your Koseki record at the city office in that city, in that town. Okay. And for additional resources that I would probably use for the Brazilian Nikkei, I'll show those things as well. So I shared like National Library archives already, and I also use the Koji Shimbun digital collection. This is Japanese diaspora newspaper collection. I'll show you that too. This website, the Hoover Institution Library and Archives. Actually, it's run by the Stanford University, I think. So this website has like all the Japanese diaspora newspaper collection. So if you go to the list, they show you like what kind of like newspaper are available. So there are some in the United States. There are some Brazilian newspaper as well. So if you search like the Sekiguchi again here with like the correct Chinese Japanese characters, it comes up the newspaper like this. So this part is a Sekiguchi. Um, this is about, I think, 100-year anniversary of like the independence of Brazil. The Sekiguchi donated some of the money, and I guess it was shown on the newspaper in Brazil. So you can find some of the information like that. So not only like the looking at the Koseki records, now you know like the names in kanji and also general timeline. You might be able to find more information about your ancestors and follow the footsteps of your ancestors. So this website is also very powerful and useful as well. So if you're trying to search your ancestors who lived outside of Japan, I would highly recommend to search it at this uh, digital collection as well. So what you can do after obtaining a record is, once you successfully obtain your ancestors' Koseki, you can trace back to the earliest registered family members, and this often reveals the original hometown, which helps identify where your family lived for generations. And in rural Japan, families often stayed in the same location for many decades, so which means neighbors with the same surname may still live there today as well. And sometimes writing letters to those people with the same surname or last name in the same town can lead to discovering like the potential relatives or new family connections as well. And also the Koseki also records names that can be researched in the historical documents as well. So just again, if you go to the National Library Digital Collection, you might be able to find your ancestors' achievements or occupations or some of the community roles of your ancestors. So that's why, after finding the Koseki, after receiving the Koseki records, you can do many things. So that's why first you have to get the Koseki record. But I know, just I explained, requesting Koseki is actually one of the hardest parts as well, because you need like a specific information to request, and also that those, after that's why it's so important to first get the Koseki, and then after that you can explore other records in Japan. So those are the reference. And now I hope we understand the importance of acquiring or getting the Koseki record. So, after that's why I wanted to usually like most of the people who come to me for the help, they they usually have challenges finding a Koseki or requesting a Koseki. And that's why, I wanted to share some of the website or database that you can start on your own to find like the important information for your ancestors and also requesting their Koseki records. So I listed some of the website and the link. So if unfortunately I'm not really sharing like this slide. So, but if you can just type it, you can go to those websites and database to look it up. Right. And also I'll also put the information about National Library and also the Diplomatic Archives of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan here. So that's it. Those are all the information I wanted to share with you today. And first of all, thank you for your attention. And my presentation was rather brief, and since English is my second language, so you may not be maybe you had some questions or you wanted to ask some questions. So I'll just put my information here. So if you have any questions or any concerns, if you need any help with the genealogy work, you can contact me at this email address here. And as I help those people who are searching their ancestors, it's always better to move on quick. So if you watch this, my video, please try to do it first with like all the tools and database I shared with you, because those are probably like the most beneficial database of knowledge you can use to search your ancestors. And if you have any questions, again, just feel free to ask and shoot me an email anytime. And thank you again. Thank you for watching my presentation.
Thank you so much, Koji, and thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you will join us for our next webinar on November 19th with Catherine Grant about using the quality score to improve family tree profiles. A recording of this webinar will be made available by next week. You can view that on our YouTube channel or our website. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us at fh_webinars@byu.edu or follow our Facebook and Twitter. Thank you and have a wonderful week.